My 31F best friend, 32F, is telling me that my boyfriend, 34M, cheated with her, but he says that she's lying. How do I get to the truth and then salvage whichever one of these relationships is worth saving? I've been best friends with Becca since 2010. We were college roommates, and then after we graduated, we still lived together up until I moved in with my boyfriend Nate in 2019. One thing about Becca is that she's always had a drinking problem for as long as I've known her, and she's done stuff while drunk that has sometimes caused problems in our friendship. She does try to stay sober, but every few years something will happen to make her start drinking again, which is what happened earlier this summer. So last Saturday, Becca called me because she was drunk somewhere and needed a ride home. I couldn't go pick her up because I had the flu and I was on cold medicine, so Nate went to get her instead. A couple of days after that, I started noticing that Nate was being weird with his phone. Normally, he leaves it out on the coffee table if we're watching TV or whatever, but he started putting it face down so I couldn't see what notifications he was getting. My first thought was that he was trying to plan a surprise, and because of the timing, I thought that maybe Becca was helping him. Yesterday, I saw Becca. I told her that Nate was being sneaky all of a sudden and asked her if he said anything about maybe proposing soon. She asked me if I looked through his phone, and I said no. Becca started crying and told me that she and Nate hooked up in his car the night that he came to pick her up. Her excuse was that she was really drunk and didn't fully know what she was doing. She said she'd been texting him since, telling him that he needed to tell me what happened or else she was going to. I asked Becca to show me the texts, but they were all in the app Signal, which deletes messages after a day. So all I could see was that she and Nate had a chat thread, but nothing that they said. I told her to text Nate in front of me so I could see what he said, and she did, but we got no read receipt and so no response at all, so it didn't prove anything. I asked Becca if she was sure she wasn't so drunk that she maybe imagined it or thought a dream was real, and she absolutely lost her shit on me and said that she knows that she's horrible when she drinks, but that she's not fucking delusional and she doesn't make shit up. She said that I could believe her or not, and it's my choice, but she was telling me the truth. I said I needed to go home and talk to Nate. So when I got home, I confronted Nate with what Becca had said, and he acted shocked and denied that anything like that had happened at all and said he didn't know why she'd think so or say so. He said that he had just given Becca a ride home, and the only thing that happened was that they talked about how he and I had been together for a long time, and how we should get married already. He admitted they were talking on Signal the next couple of days, but he said that it was about exactly what I thought, that he was asking her about engagement rings and what kind of proposal I would want. Nate replied to Becca's message from before, asking her if she made up a story about them hooking up to not ruin the surprise about his proposal, and she texted him back that there was no proposal and to stop playing dumb. So then Nate called her pretending like I wasn't in the room and told her that she needed to stop whatever she was trying to do because we were on the verge of breaking up and he'd rather just have the surprise be ruined, but Becca just kept telling Nate to stop lying until he got angry and hung up on her. I really didn't know what to think, and I still don't. Right now Nate is really upset, and not really talking to me much. He says that it's bad enough that Becca acted insane and ruined his plan to propose, but it's even worse that I believed her lies even a little, and would think that he would ever cheat on me. Becca texted me saying she was sorry, but otherwise I haven't talked to her either. I don't want to think that Nate would cheat on me, or that he'd take advantage of Becca if she was that drunk, but I feel like I can't be 100% sure because I've known Becca for 13 years, and I also just can't believe that she'd lie to me about something this important. And I know that she does have a drinking problem, so I can believe that she'd sleep with my boyfriend if she was drunk out of her head. She's done some pretty awful things in the past when she's been drunk. I don't want to wrongly accuse Nate of something he didn't do, but I don't want to be an idiot. Relevant comments. Commenter. Signal doesn't automatically delete messages unless you turn that feature on. Would he have? It's not the automatic default, but if Nate created the chat with Becca and set it for messages to disappear after 24 hours, then all of her messages with him will do that without input from her. OP. I think what I initially wanted was just a sounding board for who sounded more believable. But someone gave me the tip that you actually can recover messages from Signal, so when I have a chance later tonight, I'm going to try to do that to see if I can get some actual proof of what happened. But so far I haven't talked to anyone else about this though, I really just don't want to spread around what did/didn't happen to the rest of my friends or family without actually knowing for sure. Commenter. What else has Becca done to you while drunk? OP. So, in the past when she's been drunk, Becca's blacked out and started fights with me or other people. She'll say really out of line insulting things. She's kicked people out of our apartment because she didn't remember inviting them in. She's accused me of stealing clothes from her because I was wearing an outfit that looked like something that she also owned, that kind of thing. She's never hooked up with anyone that I was dating, but she's definitely hooked up with guys that she knew I was interested in. Commenter. Who has the greater motivation to lie here, Nate or Becca? OOP. Becca did have a big problem with Nate when we first got together, and she was really upset when I moved out of our apartment to move in with him. I could see her still being angry about it or still not liking him, but just not saying anything. From what Nate said, they weren't making the plans on Saturday, but Becca brought up that it's been 7 years and asked why we're not married yet, and then the day after he asked her about rings. Commenter. What is her reason for not liking him? OP. So at the time she was in one of her longest stretches of being sober, and she said that I was abandoning her for some guy when she needed my support the most. And then when I moved out, she tried to make it out like she wouldn't be able to stay sober without me living with her, and Nate basically had to step in and point out that she couldn't stay sober anyway, so to stop guilting me. Commenter. It's possible she blames you for her current drinking, and Nate saying he wants to propose triggered her anger for some reason. OP. Everything you say here makes sense to me. Becca has said stuff like this in the past, not specifically about Nate, but sometimes when she starts drinking again, she acts like it's unfair that I'm not getting dragged down with her or doing more to help her, and I think on some level she might still think it's his fault that I moved out and don't keep as close an eye on her as I did back when we lived together. I don't know if she'd really go as far as to lie about something like this just for that reason. I really hope she wouldn't, but I could completely believe that she feels like this. Commenter. I'm curious if Becca ever said anything to you when she hooked up with guys you liked. Do you think she was blocking you in purpose to keep you for herself? Did she try anything with Nate before you were exclusive? Or was she just drunk and looking for hookups? OP. I don't think she ever put enough thought into those hookups to be malicious like that. She was just inconsiderate and would go after whoever. Commenter. Did you ever confront her or just let it go? More than one time seems like a pattern. OP. We definitely got into arguments about it at the time, but it was mostly just kind of college bullshit and not really an actual confrontation about why she kept doing it, I guess.